Guys, today I'm going to be doing a video that is something a little bit different. I've wanted to do this video for a really long time. It's going to be quite hard for me to do just because I've obviously only got a certain amount of time. I don't want to sort of waffle on, and I've got to try and fit in quite a lot. So if I start waffling, then I'm really sorry. And I hope I am going to be able to cover everything that I want to. Okay, so this video is going to be a mixture of quite a few things, and it's going to be a mixture of talking about anxiety, talking about friendship groups and friends, talking about self-confidence, and just generally stuff about you and me and everyone, really, all the kind of things that everyone battles with and problems that can arise in life. And I think it's really important that we sort of talk about these kind of things and actually address them. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube that talk about anxiety, and they're fantastic videos. I haven't so far, correct me if I'm wrong, seen any videos where anyone really talks about coping mechanisms. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today, as well as ways in which I deal with problems in my life. So problems that I have with anxiety and depression, and problems with friends and just family, anything really. I just kind of wanted to tell you how I deal with things, and if that helps anyone, then that is all I wanted to do, really. And I think it's good to share sort of tips on how we deal with everyday life and the problems that can arise, I guess. To start off, I wanted to give you a bit of history of my anxiety. I started getting anxiety when I was about 10, 11. I have no idea why. I can't think of anything that would have triggered it. My anxiety would come out in terms of me feeling sick, and then that would then cause more anxiety because I have problems around the thought of being ill and being sick and being in an area where I can't feel ill comfortably, if you sort of see what I mean. So if I'm out in like Brighton, for example, sometimes I worry that I'll feel ill and then I won't have anywhere to go. So that's kind of where my anxiety would stem from. And I would get homesick, so I'd go to my grandma's house and I would feel sick to the point where I would actually think I'm going to throw up. So I had that for a really long time, and I would also end up feeling sick at the same time every day. So it was obviously a mental thing where I'd be mentally preparing myself for feeling ill. It would then make me feel ill, and it would just be a complete nightmare for me. So that's how it was when I was younger. I went from probably the age of 13 to about a year ago not really struggling with anxiety to that extent. I would always be anxious around little things like walking into a restaurant to meet someone or meet a group of people on my own, or going to meet people that I didn't know. I would always be nervous and anxious, and I'd get like that kind of anxious, excited butterfly feeling, but not in a good way. But I never had it to the extent that I had it last year. I think it was last year. And about a year and a half ago, my grandma passed away, and I was really close to her. I would say the first few months was okay. I was going through the grieving process, but after I'd kind of gone through that, that's when everything kind of hit me, I think, and I ended up having really bad anxiety. There was also bad stuff going on at work. I was stressing out about stuff at work. I won't go into too many details. And all of that together just caused me to have panic attacks. I struggled leaving the house. If I was going to go into Brighton driving, I would have a panic attack on the way in the car. No one would really know I'm having a panic attack. It was kind of like an internal one where I'd literally feel like I needed to open the door and get out of the car while it was moving. I'd feel sick. I'd start eating dinner and I'd instantly feel like I was going to throw up in the middle of a restaurant. I struggled with other people. I couldn't really talk to people. I couldn't really find myself feeling comfortable in a room with people. I just couldn't deal with it. And I think it was all kind of a back kind of log of everything that happened over the year, really, with my grandma passing away. So there you go. That's like the background and why I had anxiety and how it manifests with me. So in terms of dealing with my anxiety, when I was younger, I didn't really deal with it because I didn't really know it was anxiety. I thought there was a problem with me. I thought I was ill. So I didn't really deal with it, or there wasn't a way I got over it. The last time I had probably the worst anxiety I've ever had after my grandma died. The only way I can tell you how I got over it was, firstly, I read a book called The Power of Now, which I don't have in front of me. I started reading that and my mum gave me that to read. And secondly, the only way I can describe sort of how I got over it was I woke up one morning and I had just had enough. Like, I'd had enough of this controlling my life to the point where I was just exhausted. I was exhausted of worrying all the time and just constantly cramming my mind with pointless worries that I could do nothing about, and I think I just wore myself out. I also, two other things. The first thing was I did CBT, which stands for cognitive behavioural therapy, and I had a therapist who helped me, and it was just really nice to speak to somebody who actually wasn't a friend, wasn't a family member, who could hear my side of the story and hear what I was going through, and who could empathise with me and actually agree with what I'm saying. And it was like a sort of affirmation that I wasn't going mental, and the reason I was feeling the way I was feeling was completely fine, and it was right, and it was normal. The other thing was I actually started to like myself. Now I know that sounds like a really random thing to say, like, yeah, well, you know, some of us like ourselves, some of us don't, but I just realised that, you know what, the way I was acting wasn't weird. Yeah, you know what, some people do get really upset and they go into the toilet and they cry. That's not just me, loads of people do it. Sometimes people do get angry and they snap. Everyone does that. It's not just me that does that. I'm the same as everyone else, and I started to sort of think to myself, you know what, I'm not out of order for feeling this way, and no one can tell me otherwise, because you know what, this is how I feel, and this is me, and this is the way I am, and if you don't like me, then quite frankly, don't be friends with me and don't spend time with me. I'm not forcing you to do that. And that's kind of how I started to think. I know loads of people who struggle with anxiety and depression who don't like themselves, and they really struggle to be able to like themselves. And I think that's one thing that everyone needs to try and do if they can, and just accept yourself for who you are, really. So that's how I managed to get over my anxiety the second time round. Now the third time, which I haven't really spoken to you about yet, but it's kind of more relevant to this part of the video, I had a few issues a few months ago. I won't go into any details, and I started to find myself getting back to how I was before, and I could see the signs for it. And I think when you're going through anxiety and you don't know what it is, you don't know the scientific elements of it, you know, the reason you're feeling sick, the reason you're feeling panicky, you can honestly think there's something wrong with you. You can't put the two and two together, so you panic, and then that makes things worse. So with me, I could notice the beginning of my anxiety coming back, and I knew exactly what to do. I got my Power of Now book out. I started reading it every night. I try and get early nights, which never really happens because I work so hard. I would go to bed and read a book. I'd get into a series which I've just started called House of Cards. I got in contact with some old friends that I hadn't seen in a really long time, and I started kind of speaking to my family more and chatting to my boyfriend about the problems, and I just found myself kind of easing back a bit and not stepping into that kind of part of anxiety that I really didn't want to get into. So they are the coping mechanisms for me. I think CBT was really important, and I would definitely recommend it if anxiety and worrying and depression is something that you're struggling with. Getting in contact with old friends and people that make you feel comfortable is really important. Reading self-help books. Now I have 3 here. The other one is called The Power of Now. I'm not sure where I've put it. It's probably like by my bed, and I got these from my bookshelf. But I have this book here which is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think these kind of books are really helpful because it kind of makes you reevaluate how you act in society, for want of a better way of putting it. So that's one book that is on my reading list. I haven't yet read it, but I've read like 2 or 3 pages and it's fantastic. The other book that I've got is The Happiness Hypothesis, which I've read a few pages of. I haven't completely read the whole way through, but this one looks like a fantastic book. It's got some really good reviews from The Guardian. And the last one is one that my boyfriend actually lent me, and it's called The Worry Cure. And again, I haven't read all of it. I think I've read like that much of it, so not very much. But stop worrying and start living. And I think a lot of anxiety stems from worrying about things that you can't actually control. You know, you can't control the future and you can't control the past. The only thing you can control is now, and you're living it now. So try not to worry too much, sort of unnecessarily worry about what's going to happen and what has happened, because you can't change those things. So try not to worry, really. I guess that's like the best bit of advice I can give you. But these books are going to help you a little bit more, and they're written by people who are actual doctors and they know what they're talking about. So I would strongly recommend picking up a self-help book like one of those, and especially The Power of Now. I find that such a comforting book, and to just read it when you're feeling anxious or uncomfortable, or you're not sure how to deal with your anxiety, your worrying or your depression. I would really recommend that. CBT and self-help books, I would say, are more short-term fixes if you're really kind of thinking about it in an overall kind of way. I think long term you need to think about the people you spend your time with, people that you surround yourself with, and your state of mind. Now, I can't help you with regards to your state of mind. Like I said, it's important for you to love yourself and like yourself and care about yourself. But when it comes to things like surrounding yourself with the right people, I think that's probably one of the most important things you can do if you're struggling with depression or anxiety or worrying, or if you're just generally feeling a bit down. Negativity tends to breed negativity, and if you spend your time with people who are quite negative, you will find yourself becoming negative as well. I've had friendships in the past where they've kind of brought out the worst in me, and they can be relationships with partners as well, and friendships with close friends, and also family members as well. You know, they're a massive part of your life too. And I think it's really important that you kind of, I know it sounds quite brutal, but you kind of cut away those people who are breeding that negative feeling in you and who don't make you feel good about yourself. I'm really, really lucky that I have close friends that I do. I'd probably say about 2 or 3 really, really, really close girl friends, like female friends. And I think I only have about 1 really close male friend. I think that's pretty much it. And they are my core people that I know I can rely on. And the reason I know that they're really good friends is because I'm so unbelievably proud of them as people, and not just for what they've achieved in life, but also for the kind of people that they are. They really are good people through and through, and that's why I know that they're my friends, and that's why I want to spend time with them. When I'm around them, I feel like a better person, and I feel like I can achieve anything, and they make me feel like I can achieve anything. I think when you're choosing the people that you're friends with, it's something that you need to really consider quite kind of carefully, because there are people out there that can make you feel really bad about yourself. And I think as you get older, I mean, I'm 26 now, but as you get older, you start kind of whittling them all down, and it's okay to have only 2 or 3 really close friends. I'm going to tell you a really quick story about one of my friends. I won't tell you her name. Just to give you an idea of why I know that she's a really good friend of mine. I won't go into the details of what happened, but I ended up saying something to someone without realising it, which upset her. And she then basically told me she was really upset, and we had a bit of an argument. Like weeks later, I went out into the town that we all live in, and I saw her sister, and I said to her sister that we'd fallen out. And she then went back and spoke to my friend and sort of said, you know, I spoke to Sophie and this is the situation. She said that you guys had fallen out. And my friend then got in contact with me, and she was like, I didn't realise you thought that we weren't going to be friends anymore. We had an argument, but that doesn't mean we're not friends. And that's when I realised that's a friendship. Like, you need to differentiate between the two. There's people out there who are vindictive, and they're horrible, and they're nasty. They're bad people through and through, and they will do things that are horrible and nasty, and they really mean it, and you can tell there's intent behind their actions. Then there's people who just do things and they don't mean to do it. And that doesn't mean that they're not good friends, it just means they're human. You know, people make mistakes, they say things, they do things, they don't think them through. That doesn't mean they're bad people. And I think that's when that's the best way to choose your friends. Look at your friends now and think to yourself, you know, are they people who I'm proud of, and people who have good intentions, or are they people who I actually look at and think, actually, I don't think you've got very good intentions, and I actually think, you know, the things you're doing them because you want to upset people, or you want to do something bad, whatever. And that's kind of how I've managed to whittle my friends down to the handful that I have got, because I know the ones that I have got have good intentions and they're kind, and I think that's why they're my friends. So that's pretty much it for this video. I didn't want to go into too much detail because I didn't want it to be too long. I've already hit about 20 minutes, I think, which is crazy long. If you have any questions, then put them in the description box below, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys, and I will be more than happy to do a Q&A video. If I don't get enough questions, then I will just answer them sort of as they come through. Make sure you have the reply button enabled, guys, otherwise I won't be able to reply to your comments. Ask me any questions you want. If you want me to do any other videos similar to this as well, if you're having issues with friends, you've had an argument, you want me to give you some advice, then let me know. If it's the fact that you're having issues with anxiety and you want me to explain to you in a little bit more detail how I got over my anxiety, then just let me know. Ask me as many questions as you want. If this video is able to get you guys all together, people that are experiencing issues with anxiety and worrying and depression and so on, then I think it's good, because we need to all help each other. I think that's really important. As well as this video, I'm also going to be doing a blog post, which I will sort of I won't link it in the description box below because I won't have written it yet, but I will put a link to my blog in the description box below, and you can click on that and keep your eye out for when it's actually going to be live. I'm hoping to get it up in the next week or so, but I have loads of Christmas related blog posts to do as well, so I'm kind of juggling. So just bear with me, guys, bear with me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you've not done so already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys all very much, and try and look after yourselves. Bye!